If you know me at all, you know that I am a sucker for some good time management and just some skills when it comes to how you spend your days. So, we're going to talk about that today because there's been some updates on my time management style, skills, all of that, as well as just all of the practical things. I mean, all of the things that you need to know to just master your time better because it's something we all have. And time is so strange because sometimes we feel like we have so much time and we can't wait for something to happen, or we want more time to pass faster. And then sometimes we feel like things are going way too fast and we can't keep up with it. So, no matter which one you more naturally fall into, learning to understand and then utilize your time to the best of your ability is a skill that you need. So, we're going to talk about it today. We're going to talk about all the things today. So, let's do it. Today's drink is sadly fairly lame. It is a protein shake with a bunch of supplements in it. And that's just what we're drinking. One of the supplements that I put in my protein is called Ovacetyl. Probably saying it wrong, but it's white and pink. And most people are fairly familiar with Ovacetyl. It helps with hormone health a lot, and it's supposed to really help you like just regulate your hormones as a woman. And honestly, I think it's helping. I think it really is. I will keep you posted on it because I have my next blood lab in like a month maybe. So depending on what that all comes back at, I'll keep you posted. But I have a feeling it's helping because I feel like my hormones are getting better. And like I've really struggled with hormonal acne the last couple of weeks. Like you can always tell it's hormonal acne when it's like right around like the chin area. That's usually pretty bad. So it's getting better. It's getting better, which is exciting because no one wants bad acne. No one wants that. So we're working through that whole process. And ever since getting off of like all the birth control and all of the pills that I've been on since I was 13, 14 years old, I feel better than I have in a really long time. Truthfully, I feel more energetic. I have been working out consistently. I think this is week 10 of consistent working out, which is crazy. I have not been this consistent probably since back in high school when I was playing volleyball. So it feels really, really good. Honestly, it might be past week 10. I don't even know. To just like I have been working out at minimum 5 times a week, most of the time 6. And I don't know, something just clicked in my brain that I need to get it together and freaking take care of my workout schedule. So that's like the mix of strength training and Pilates and getting in a lot of protein, drinking way more water, all of that. And I've just been feeling really good lately, like really, really good. And maybe part of that is the hormonal supplement stuff that we're getting under control. And maybe it's just me working out. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I'm loving it. It's fantastic. So with all of these things though that are currently in the routine, I do feel like an updated time management episode is needed. The last one that we did was like, oh my gosh, almost 2 years ago, I think. And it is still one of the most played episodes. Like people are constantly going back to it. I don't know where people are finding it, to be honest, but it is always like every single month when I check the stats of everything and all the episodes, like it's always up there in the top one. So I want to do an updated one because I feel like I have learned even more about time management. And truthfully, my schedule has gotten even busier. And there is that element of time management that has to happen in order to avoid burnout and also to show up as the best version of yourself in all areas of your life and to make sure that your routine is serving you. That is so crucial. Your routine has to be doing things that actually helps you and not something that you think you should be doing or your friend recommended it and you tried it and you hate it, but you think you have to keep doing it because your friend does it. Like that's just not the case. So with all of that in mind, how to balance time, find time for the things that you want to do, the things you should do, all of that stuff is a lot. So I don't know. And also like I have been reading in Ephesians. That's what I've been studying lately is Ephesians in the Bible. And in Ephesians 5, this just really hits, okay? Ephesians 5, 15 through 16. It says, "Be careful then how you live, not as unwise, but as wise, making the most of every opportunity because the days are evil." Okay, so the verse is just really emphasizing how important it is to be careful with our time because when we have time to just sit and do nothing, it tends to get us in trouble. It is not a great thing to be bored all the time. There's a part of it where it can be good for like creativity and stuff, but it's really important that we're making the most of our time and making the most of every opportunity that God has given us to just, glorify Him and live in our purpose of that, right? So when we're not managing our time, there are so many negative effects of that. It can look like procrastination, which can obviously lead to increased stress over things or maybe even missed deadlines, poor work performance. Like that's always a bummer. And all of that can happen when you don't have good time management. You also become less productive. Your relationships are going to be way more strained. Honestly, you could even have health implications from not being able to manage your time. And whether that is that you're not dedicating enough time to eating correct foods or not moving your body or you're overworking yourself or maybe quite opposite and you're not working anything and you're not doing anything. I mean, you're going to miss opportunities. There's probably going to be some sort of financial hiccup if you are not able to manage your time also because that's just what part of it. And if you're not smart with your time, you're not glorifying God, there's just so many ramifications. So, I mean, there's a lot that kind of goes into time management overall. And we're going to go over a couple of like tips and tricks and all of that on how to really make sure that you're doing the most with your time. I think I have like, I don't know, maybe 12 things. And then we'll go over some like resources and stuff. But I mean, the first step is that you ultimately have to figure out what you want to do with your time. Like, do you want your time spent watching other people live their lives? Probably not. Like, that sounds pretty bogus. Well, then sitting down and binge watching a bunch of TV shows or scrolling on social media or, being checked out of your own life, consuming other people's lives and what they're doing for hours on end isn't going to help you. That's not going to help you live your life. And while there's merit to the rest of everything, if you're relying on just checking out of your life and your decisions and your everyday thoughts in order to get through life, well, you're not living then, right? So you have to really, really think about what are your goals, and not like goals like professionally or anything like that. I'm not saying like maybe you do want to start a small business, but that's not even what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like very wide goal of like, what do you want your life to be? What do you want to stand for? What do you want to do? And I'll give you a hint. As a Christian, and I know not everyone listening is a Christian. So if you're not a Christian, you need to really take some time to evaluate that question for yourself. But as a Christian, the answer is glorify God. That's the answer. What do I want to do with my life? I want to glorify God. It doesn't need to be this long thought out 45-step plan on all of the things that I need to do before I'm 45 or whatever. No, it's this very generic in the sense that it's simple and universal, but also incredibly deep in the sense that it is so personal to you and your relationship with God, right? So truthfully, I mean, that needs to be the goal, is like when, as a Christian, our purpose is to glorify God. So then how do we spend our time glorifying God? What does that look like? And you have to get really, really clear on that. And for each of us, that's going to be slightly different, but it's going to have the same basic setup of you need to be caring for your body. You need to be caring for your soul, your mind, and you need to be caring for your relationships with God and relationships with other. Okay? Like that's pretty much the blueprint for living a life that glorifies God. Okay? If you don't take care of your body, you're not going to be able to do anything. And you're not taking care of the temple that the Spirit resides in, right? That's like what the Bible literally says. You need to take care of your body, which is the temple for which I live. Like that, the body is so important for that reason, and the health of everything. The soul, your soul, is obviously important. That's the part of you that has a relationship with God and is so beautiful. And just honestly, your personality in general, your mind, like that's part of your soul. Like it all has to go together to the point where you're just leaning into that relationship with God and with yourself and finding that balance, okay? Like that has to be a priority, okay? That's a little bit of a tangent, but that has to be a priority. And then obviously your relationship with Jesus and other people, because God is so clear in the Bible that we have to have community and then love others well. Like that is such an obvious statement in throughout scripture and just like what God desires for us because he loves us so well, he wants us to love each other well. So if we're supposed to glorify God with our lives, and then additionally, we are supposed to live a life with those kind of facets in at top of mind. And then additionally, we know we have to, I don't know, pay our bills, live our lives, do all of that, eat our food, things that are daily habits in order to sustain said lifestyle. It can start to feel so overwhelming. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling like there's a lot of consequences to not managing your time well, as I talked about. But then there's also a lot of consequences to just having a life in general, right? Like it's intense to have a life that needs so many different areas constantly cared for, which is why we're talking about time management as Christians, as people who have a Christian lifestyle, because it's a lot. It's a lot, okay? So, first things first, a good old fashioned like brain dump on what you want your life to look like. What is your ideal day? What habits does it include? Something that is just getting pen to paper and you're just sitting there going, okay, every single day I need to do this. I want to do this. This is what I would ideally have in my daily routines. Okay. And that kind of builds out like this framework to-do list. So obviously there's going to be little to-dos that change every day. Some days you're going to have to go grocery shopping, but that's not an everyday task. So you have some things that are going to be movable, but you have this general framework that you're at least able to work off of when you get pen to paper on, okay, is making a bed a priority to me? Truthfully, it's not a priority to everybody. And if you put yourself in the box that it should be a priority for you, and you like literally hate making your bed and it does absolutely nothing for you, and your point is I just sleep in it later, maybe that's not something you actually need on your list. I'm going to just throw that out there. Maybe that's not something you need on your list. For me, it's on my list. I do. I love walking into my bedroom with a made bed. And it's such a quick thing for me that I have to have it on my list. But it's not essential for everyone. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, get on your to-do list, create just this massive thing of like what every day should consist of, or maybe you want to do a weekly one of what every week needs to consist of. And then comes the priority list of, okay, what actually has to happen every day? I have to eat every day. That's a rule. You have to eat every day. So you're going to have to make time for your food. You should move your body every day. That should be a priority. So that needs to be something that you're making time for, okay? So you're going to go through and prioritize all of the stuff that needs to happen each and every day. So here's the thing. I really struggle when people come to me and say, I don't have time for something. Because I am someone that I don't really know why I'm this way, but I will always somehow find time for everything. And that's just naturally the way I'm wired. So I have very little sympathy for people who say that they don't have enough time in the day to get basic life things done, like working out or, sleeping enough, all of that stuff. Because I just really think that if you're smart with your time, you can fit everything in a way that does not burn you out, in a way that is sustainable for the long term. And this is coming from someone who really does have the backing to say this. Okay. So obviously work a full-time job for a nonprofit. Love that. I am a creator on social media, which is so fun. I have several contracts going at the same time, all the time, creating content for brands, negotiating, learning through edits, all of that stuff. That's a large portion of it. And that is a very large portion of our income too. So it has to be a priority for us. I also am a private contractor employee for a influencer brand that works with influencer relations. So that's exciting. I also am very, very involved at our church and working for multiple ministries there, whether it's women's ministry or whether it is the creative department ministry, all of that. So very, very involved with that. And that's like the serving. We also lead a small group in our home every week. I do mentor local women who have been just going through it and had some difficulties in their life and are trying to get things back on track. I get to work with them. And that's more month by month. not quite weekly. So it's a little bit lighter. And then obviously we do have the foster kiddos that come and stay with us for short-term fostering. So that's probably again monthly. And there's just a lot, okay? There's a lot that goes on in my daily life. And then obviously the podcast and the book coming out and all of that. Like there's a lot. So when people say that they don't have time for things, it's not that you don't have time. It's that you just aren't using your time wisely. So the only way for me to do all of the things that I do is I am a psychopath when it comes to this priority list, right? When it comes to this massive to-do list that is on there, I will take a highlighter and whatever is in pink needs to come first. Whatever is in blue comes second. Whatever's in green is if I can get to it today, I'll do it. If I can get to it tomorrow, I'll do it. And that's what's more movable. And truthfully, the more movable things, that's going to be like vacuuming. I know that everyone's coming over for small group on Thursday. So does it need to happen on Monday? No, I have all the way until Thursday to get that task done. If I get it done early, great. If I don't, that's okay as long as it's done by Thursday. So you have to prioritize your list. You have to have priorities when you're doing this, okay? So then let's get into some more of like the very tangible things. I label my days with themes. This sounds stupid, but I promise it is such a mindset shift that helps so much when it comes to time management. Today, it is a Friday. My Fridays are usually labeled creative days. And today is just like that. So this morning I got a matcha. I did a bunch of work on my computer to get, that was all very much so creative related, whether it was writing or whether it was designing some graphics. All of that happened this morning. And then this afternoon, obviously here I am podcasting and prepping the podcast for the week. Fridays are my creative days. And I have a label on the top of my to-do list for Friday. It says creative, because I know that this is the mindset I need to be in for the day. Mondays are very meeting heavy for me. So I will label those days admin. And admin days are all about answering emails that I snoozed, because I'm a big snoozer on emails. If I can't get to it in that moment, I don't want it sitting in my inbox, so I'll snooze it. And I will answer all the emails that I didn't get to the week before. I will handle all of my meetings. I will make my to-do list for the week. I will handle all of the administrative things that need to happen in my day on Mondays. Other days, examples, sometimes if it's not creative or admin, sometimes it's deep work days where I just need to like dive into either a specific project or set of projects for my job or for another project that I'm working on. Other days are filming days, which means I know that when I wake up, I need to wear makeup and do my hair really cute because I have a lot to be filming that day. And it's for a brand or company or whatever. And then I have my Sabbath day, which is very intentional rest. And I know that that day is going to be spent with my husband and reading good books, going to church, doing all of that stuff. So I label each day what my expectation for myself to show up as. And what this does is it not only helps prepare me for where my time is being spent that day, but it also sets the tone for the tasks that I'm going to work on that day. Because when you are, especially as someone who's in a creative space, when you are trying to switch back and forth between administrative work, meetings, creativity, rest, all these things, and you're trying to do each thing all day long, you're not able to really get into a deep focus mode. And it can be really prohibiting, honestly, when you're trying to switch between tasks that are not related to each other. So if you can lump related tasks together, that's going to be huge. If you have an email newsletter and you need to make social media content, do that in a day, right? Write your email newsletter, make your social media content on a day that maybe you don't have to go to class or you don't have to go to work, or, try to clump like tasks together, especially when you're doing things for homework or you have big assignments coming up for work, all of that. Highly suggest that. And then you can time block within that. So like I said, this morning, today's a creative day. Friday, label creativity. This morning was writing. I had to work on a lot of copy for a lot of upcoming things. So I knew that when I was drinking my matcha, this was my time block to write. I have a writing playlist on my Spotify that I turn on, and I just dive into whatever writing I need to work on. So then I go on a walk, take a break, mentally check out for a minute, call someone. I talked to my mom and my brother on this call, so it was very productive. And then I jump into podcasting. And I know for the next 3 hours that I need to work on editing and just doing podcast scripts and then ultimately recording podcasts. Okay. So that's the way that you can kind of label a day, time block days, and then clump tasks within those time blocks. That's really, really helpful if you feel like you need to take this to the next level, because it's a lot. And I also feel like sometimes it's the smaller tasks that are harder to get done in these moments, because you can dive into these deep projects and get really going on all these things. But then it's like, oh, shoot, I was supposed to start laundry, or, oh, the dishes have to get done. If those are what are holding you up in a lot of these, I have this effect. It's called the Pomodoro effect. And it is so beneficial for the smaller tasks. I don't necessarily love to do this for anything that takes more time or is bigger, because I feel like very limited in this. But the Pomodoro effect, you do a 25-minute timer and put your phone on airplane mode or a deep focus or whatever. Okay. So 25-minute timer. When the 25-minute timer goes off, you have a 5-minute break. Ideally, you're not spending the 5-minute break on your phone. Ideally, you're going to go stand up, stretch, maybe get a glass of water, maybe change the playlist that's going. If you're listening to music, maybe you're going to put some essential oils in your diffuser, whatever that looks like for you. You're going to take a 5-minute break, and then you're going to reset that system, 25-minute, 5-minute break. Do this 3 times, okay? So you have a 25-minute focus with a timer, 5-minute break, 25-minute focus, 5-minute break, 25-minute focus, 5-minute break. And then at the end of that, you take a 30-minute break. This is a great time to get a snack. This is a great time to go on a walk, maybe get in a quick at-home Pilates workout that's like 25 minutes long, whatever that looks like for you. You're going to take a 30-minute break. If you do this 2 to 3 times during the day, you will have the most productive day of your life. I'm not going to lie to you. You really will. Again, if I'm trying to get into deep work, this does not work for me, because I need to be so focused that when the 25-minute timer goes off, it's honestly pulling me out of my focus zone. And that's not helpful. And like for this podcast, if I were to set a 25-minute timer on it, that wouldn't be helpful for us, because it's a conversation, right? So not in every case, but in any case where you're trying to get small tasks done and there's a lot of them, this is so helpful. Or if you have emails to do or something like that, highly suggest the Pomodoro effect. So beneficial. And it really does help, I promise. Okay. Additionally, with that, I do want to just emphasize the power of a good freaking like 20 to 30-minute break. And setting timers on your breaks, because when we try to push through and not take breaks, we can reach like a brain burnout zone where like our brain is just fried. And that's not managing our time really well. So the key to a good break though is filling that break time with something beneficial, with something that's actually helping you instead of just taking you out of your, like desensitizing you what's going on. Okay. So here's what I'm saying. If your every break is spent scrolling on social media, you are using it as a form of escapism, and it's going to be really hard to reconnect with whatever you're going to do next. And it's also going to be really hard to just actually stay true to that limit, and it's not benefiting you at all. So when you get really creative with your breaks, that means that your breaks are spent maybe contacting someone that you need to talk to, or maybe your break is spent doing some sort of administrative quick, you're going to answer all your text messages over the next 25 minutes because you feel like you can't keep going at whatever project is currently in front of you. Let's say you own a business and you've been working on product for over an hour. You need a 25-minute break. Maybe call someone, or maybe, like I said, get in a quick little workout, or go make a really nice, fun snack for yourself, or read 2 chapters of a book that is helping you grow in a certain area. So make sure you're intentional with your breaks, instead of letting the break filler time be filled with nonsense or things that are not actually benefiting you in any way, shape, or form. That's not going to help you in the long run, truthfully. Okay. Additionally, you guys know I am a psychopath when it comes to like a calendar or planner. That's just really important for setting realistic expectations. I use a monthly planner at the beginning of the month. I do then plan out my weeks like at the beginning of the week, I will plan out my week, and then I also will use a daily planner. Listen, it sounds like a lot. It sounds like a lot to have a monthly plan, a weekly plan, and then a daily plan. I get it. I get it. But the truth of the matter is, that's what it takes. That's what it takes in order to do what you need to do if you're going to master your time. If you're consistent with your planning, it doesn't actually get that overwhelming because you're able to reference back. So when I go to do my monthly plan, I'm able to reference everything that I knew that I wanted to get done for the year on my quarterly planning. And I'm able to be like, okay, this is what needs to happen. And I'm looking at my calendar. Then when I go to my weekly plan, I'm able to reference the monthly plan and be like, oh, okay, this isn't that bad. This is what I said I would need to do this week. These are added things I need to get done. Great. And then when it comes to my daily plan, you just look at the weekly plan and you're able to kind of build it into more depth then. And when you get more detailed about this, you're able to set really realistic expectations on your time, and then you're able to accomplish everything. And it just all comes down to starting. Literally, it all comes down to starting. And my number one tip when it comes to needing to do a task and not wanting to is break down the task so ridiculously small in your brain that it is crazy that you don't feel like doing it anymore. For example, let's say your dishes are piled up right now. You know you need to do them. For some reason, it is just the mountain that cannot be moved for you today. It's grossing you out that they're all sitting there. And if you can't tell, this happened to me this week. And you just have no energy to tackle the dishes. No energy. So take like literally 3 seconds in your brain here to break it down about what does doing the dishes entail. Because right now it's feeling heavy. It's feeling like a lot, right? Okay. It means I would need to stand up off of the couch. I would quite literally need to take a couple steps to where the sink is. And then I would need to turn the faucet on. And then I would need to rinse the dishes that are in there, open the dishwasher, and set the dish in the dishwasher in the predetermined place. Okay. So now I've broken this down into 20 steps. And each step is going to take me half a second. So no longer is this a massive task because I'm like, okay, can I not stand up right now? No, wait, I can. Standing up is okay. Okay, wait, I can't turn the water on? No, wait, I can. So when something that isn't that intense is feeling daunting, break it down. And then similarly, then I do this when the tasks are daunting that I don't feel like doing. I have to lead a really big meeting next week. Okay, well, let me break it down. Am I nervous to drive my car there? Nope. Okay. Am I nervous to open the door? Nope. Am I nervous to say hello to everyone? No. Am I nervous to pull out the agenda? You know what I mean? Like literally break it down moment by moment. No. And the smaller you go with these moments, the more insane you break it down in your head. This alleviates my fear or my overwhelmed feeling for a lot of things because nothing is that big of a deal. Nothing is that big of a deal. It's small step after small step after small step. And when you start to do that, A, you're going to feel really accomplished because you're like, wow, I turned the water on. Check there, right? But B, you're also really starting to repave the mind pathway that's telling you that something is a really big deal because it's not. It's not. And this is going to help you get so much more done. Okay. All right. So that's kind of my breakdown on getting things done, labeling days, planning, how I get things done that I don't want to do, time limits, all of that for time management. There's so many things that go into time management, and it's because it's so important. A couple things that I highly, highly, highly suggest when it comes to this, a couple books that have really helped me through this. First one, Getting Things Done, The Art of Stress-Free Productivity. This is just so good. It introduces a methodology about GTD, which is getting things done, a lot of practical strategies for organizing your tasks together, all of that, okay? And that's by David Allen, 10 out of 10. Next, I do love Atomic Habits. I know it's cheesy. That's obviously by James Clear. It's not totally about time management, but it is about creating habits that serve you and how to instill those into a regular routine. Very important. Okay, obsessed with this one. Eat the Frog, 21 ways to stop procrastinating and get more done in less time. Brian Tracy wrote this, and wow. It is so good. It is so good. It talks about how you have to eat the frog, tackle the hardest challenge right away first. And it helps a lot with like prioritizing and all of that. Super, super interesting. I do love Deep Work so far by Cal Newport. I'm currently working through this book right now, and it's talking all about how to focus without distractions and strategies for really cultivating those deep work days, as we talked about. Last one is called Make Time, How to Focus on What Matters Every Single Day. Two guys wrote this, Jake Knapp and John Zertiski. And this is really cool because it talks about the boundaries in your routine and focusing on what really matters throughout the day. Similar to Eat the Frog, like really prioritizing those hard things that have to happen and getting them out of the way so your mind is clear for the rest of the day. I just love that. I absolutely love that so much. So anyways, those are a couple of like book recommendations. I will also have that listed on the gram. So if you guys are interested, the Inspired Lady podcast, that's on Instagram, and we'll talk more about those books on productivity, but I'm seriously like obsessed with all those books. And they help a lot when it comes to time management. So I hope this helped. I really, really do. There were so many tips in this one. I hope it wasn't overwhelming, but I'm very, very grateful for you. Love you lots. And I will chat with you next week.